Hi, everyone. Welcome to True Disabled Story. My name is Nico, and I use he, him pronouns. I'm a white man with parted blonde hair, large blue and brown spectacles, and a white checkered and pink button-up shirt. I'm seated against a blurred-out background. It's my kitchen. Like about 25% of Americans and a full 17% of Philadelphians, I'm disabled. Whether we look locally, nationally, or even globally, disabled communities are full of dynamic, diverse, and frankly delightful people with their own stories to tell. All we have to do is listen. As many of you know, I was born disabled. I've never known differently. So when I come into contact with other disabled people, whether in my social life, personal life, or even professionally, I'm interested to hear their stories, their perspectives. If you've met one disabled person, you've met one disabled person. That brings me to today's guest, my friend Nicole. And audience members out there who are particularly eagle-eyed might remember Nicole from at least two of my past projects now. So an old friend at this point. Hi, Nicole. How are you doing? Happy that you're here.
Good, Nico. Thank you. I'm doing really well. Hello to everyone from sunny Helsinki, Finland, coming to you live. And yes, the background you see behind me is my kitchen. I am a white female with white gray hair, purple glasses, and I'm wearing a blue jean jacket over a, I guess, khaki green colored shirt. And I am can I say retired? I suppose. I'm retired at this point after a 32-year teaching career, most of it being internationally, but Helsinki is my home. And like Nico, I have been disabled all my life. I have cerebral palsy, and I'm also very interested to learn from friends and people around the world about how their lives have been and how they deal with everyday life. So I'm very happy to be back. Third time's the charm. A lot more comfortable, and it's really nice to see you again and surround myself among friends. So thank you very much.
Sure. Let's get into it. Nicole, what was your path to diagnosis like? You mentioned being disabled since birth, but was this a surprise, or was it something that your family had prepared for? Paint the picture for us.
Okay. Well, for that, I'm going to have to take you way back to 1970, July to be exact. In fact, my birthday is going to be in exactly, what is it, July 6th today?
It is.
So I will be turning a big 54 on July 22nd. So to answer your question, no, this was a surprise. I was born 3 months premature. My parents were going on their last vacation before baby. And at that time, my parents were living in Boston, Massachusetts, and they decided to drive up to Canada and just see what there was to see, go to Quebec, do all the touristy stuff, and then make it down. So this was, my mom had just been 2 weeks prior to the doctor and everything was fine. They had made plans to start Lamaze classes. That was something new. Prior to 1970, those really didn't exist. So they were anxious. They were thinking about, okay, we've got 3 months before baby comes. Let's get things ready. But I, being my independent, feisty, adventurous self, had other things in mind and decided that I don't care that you're on vacation. I thought, yeah, I've had enough. I want to go out and make my mark on the world. So I was born on July 22nd, 3 months ahead of schedule. Spent the first 2.5 months in an incubator. That was the only alternative at the time. Back then, there wasn't a lot of information regarding cerebral palsy or how to handle it. Essentially, my parents and extended family were happy that I was alive, because that was the fear. Being born premature, My parents were obviously in Canada when my mother started feeling some discomfort, which led her to think like, oh, let's travel back down to the US. I want to make sure that, our child is born in an English speaking environment, because they were in Quebec at the time, which was French speaking. And there was a lot of apprehension with that, especially because I was coming early. So made it as far as Rumford, Maine. Spent as I said, 2.5 months in an incubator. But my cerebral palsy was not diagnosed until I was 2 years old. Because when I was born, and after I came home, I was breathing. I appeared to be able to hear and see. From what my parents believed, I was functioning, properly, eating, doing all those things. But when it came to movement, that was obviously very, very difficult. And now looking back at my baby pictures, there are obvious signs that as first-time parents with not that experience behind one's belt wouldn't necessarily picked up unless, I started walking at 4 months, which no child does. And at that point, my parents had already decided that we were going to move overseas. We went to Greece. My mother is originally from the Netherlands. My father is of Greek descent. So the diagnosis wasn't even made in the US initially. My parents realized by the time I was a year and a half that I was struggling with standing. I really wasn't crawling very much. My hands appeared to be somewhat stronger than my legs. So with great apprehension, they went to a doctor in Greece who was reluctant to give my parents a diagnosis, which is appalling because the words that the doctor uttered to my father was, "Throw your child away." So my father, being a dad, obviously was extremely upset. I'm sure that if he could have reached across the doctor's desk, he probably would have injured him quite severely, because how dare a medical professional give advice like throw your child away? So from that note, my parents decided that the closest place where we could probably get a diagnosis would be either to try to make it back to the United States, which then my parents did. So my cerebral palsy, specifically spastic diplegia, was diagnosed at Boston Children's Hospital, which at the time and even now is quite a well-known medical facility with, lots of know-how and expertise. So yeah, that was the path towards diagnosis. And then the dilemma came, okay, now we know, what can we do? What can we do as parents? Because obviously that changed the entire trajectory of my parents' life plan. Do we remain overseas? If we do, how do we access services? Forget not even services. How do we deal with living in a society that wants to throw me away because I'm not able to move like everybody else? So there was a lot of apprehension, a lot of uncertainty, a lot of questioning. I suppose there was a lot of tears involved from my parents' standpoint, and how dare people be so ignorant. And
Definitely.
yeah,
Living with that sense of instability can be very terrifying. Absolutely.
but I mean, I was lucky
Mhm.
because, my parents could have, I don't want to say the easy way out, because that minimizes what other families do in that situation. But my parents decided that we were going to remain overseas. We were going to not return to the US, which may or may not have been the correct thing to do at the time. my mother decided that she wanted to get not a second opinion, but she wanted to go into her own country and get a better understanding of medically what it was that I had and what potentially could be my future, what steps we would need to take, because the Netherlands was significantly closer to Greece, as opposed to being, clearly, across an ocean and several countries. So if my parents did need to spend some time apart because I would need medical support, then my mom had family. It was closer, and that's what happened throughout my life. Anytime there was something major that needed to happen, or we couldn't get services in Greece because we absolutely couldn't, going to the Netherlands was the option. And then my father, who was a teacher in the United States, totally decided to change careers in moving to Greece, went back to teaching and ended up teaching at the international school, which then allowed me to pursue education in a regular international school from kindergarten to grade 12. But that came with its own set of frustrations and challenges. So, yeah.
Thank you. You dig a bit into my second question, so we'll pop right into it. What impact has your diagnosis had on your life? You've talked about the preparations that your parents made and how they've kind of managed to form their lives around your medical needs, and I'm so glad they did. What was it like then for you growing up as you navigated different cerebral palsy treatments, came into your young adulthood, had to choose a profession for yourself? What impact has CP had on those life movements?
Right. I suppose I want to start off by saying that it took me 52 years to embrace my disability identity. And that for me is huge, because my entire life, I never thought that I was disabled. And I also always wanted to fit in. I wanted to be like everybody else. And it made me really angry when I wasn't accepted for who I was. And so I didn't advocate for myself. So on the one hand, while I'm really happy to have had the experiences to build my resilience and to let me just push forward and keep on going no matter what, I'm still sad that the society around me wasn't equipped to support me the way that it could. And I think a lot of, in terms of treatments, they were painful, they were expensive. Our family was split apart. It was a real challenge. I didn't get the support that I needed in Greece. I barely had any physical therapy. My parents became my physical therapists, which was another challenge for them. And I suppose, I don't want to say that I was ignorant towards it, but I didn't know any better. So it was really frustrating to try to, on the one hand, go through all these things that I was going through. And on the flip side, still feeling that need to fit in and to be like everybody else, and to want to participate in PE, and to want to be able to buy normal shoes and not have to worry about the pains that I was feeling that I didn't understand why, or the reasons why I got exceptionally tired, or the reasons why I would have doctors poking and prodding and talking at me rather than to me, and trying to understand, like, why wasn't anybody else wearing these horrible, ugly braces that just made me feel unwanted, and why could I not just get up and escape? So that it was a challenge, and I think I kept that constant need to belong, but to belong just like everybody else for my entire life. But then at the same time, I knew that I wanted to be a special education teacher. I knew that in doing that, one of my primary goals would be to make my students feel like they would belong and I could advocate for them, but I couldn't advocate for myself. And I didn't. I let things be. I didn't complain when there wasn't a ramp. I didn't complain when I couldn't participate in a social activity. That I just let it be. And it's only been just recently that I'm like, hang on a minute, this isn't right. Like, if I can't take on board what I'm showing my students, then I've been doing myself a really big disservice by not saying, I'm just as capable as anyone else, but the environment has to figure out a way to make it work for me. So I don't know if that answers your question, but it's been a constant, like, it's been a constant battle, inner and outer and everything else, included. But at the same time, I'm glad for that.
It is
So
wonderful to see um, a shift in disability culture from uh, this rush to conform into a rush to express, right? And I see in your response, you did spend a lot of time of your life trying to fit in, but that was the message that was given to us, right? As
right.
disabled people that were born kind of pre-internet and before widespread disability acceptance, the message that we got was to conform. I don't know. Um, I don't know if you had the same perspective that I did, but it seemed to me at least that, one day we got that message to conform as disabled people, and like the switch to disability acceptance was like that, right? So one day I had like oh Nico, why aren't you conforming to able society? And then the next day, oh Nico, why are you conforming? Why aren't you expressing yourself?
Yeah.
It was a lot of whiplash. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I see you in that, and I'm so glad that we now get to live in that time. That's fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. It is fantastic. And, you know, not to say that it's not scary,
Mhm.
because there's always, you walk into anything with that trepidation. But I think that having had the experience of wanting to conform and wanting to be like everyone else, just now in my later years of my life, just fuels me even more. And I think I've grieved the loss of the life that I didn't have, but I also grieved the loss of the life that I had. And I'm finding it okay that there are going to be people in my life, including close family members, that will never understand me now. Will still continue to behave or maybe speak in a way that's completely unacceptable. And yet, despite my, you know, please don't say that, or please respect me, or think about how you interact with others, that I'm not going to be able to change everybody, but I still have to keep trying. And I still have to realize that maybe my inner circle becomes smaller. But maybe from another perspective, now that we have the internet and social media and we can connect, maybe my journey and the lessons that I've learned can be shared with others who may or may not be experiencing the same thing, or could take something from anything that I've endured and dealt with, so that they can make other choices and other decisions. Or maybe again feel like, oh, somebody else can really, really understand what I'm feeling, what I'm saying, what I'm seeing. Um, so yeah,
Yeah.
that's where it is.
In fact, looking back, what advice would you give people with your diagnosis? If you could advise a younger person with cerebral palsy, what
It's
life
never
lesson would you impart?
it's never too late.
Yeah.
Speak
Okay.
up, speak up, reach out, find your voice in whatever way, shape, or form it takes. Stand up for what you believe in. Don't hold back. because you deserve everything and anything the world can offer you. That's the bottom line. You know, don't stop. Just keep going. Even when you feel like nobody's listening, or you can't move on, or you don't have the physical strength, the emotional strength, just do it. Just do it because you deserve it. And you need to give yourself that gift.
That's empowering indeed. Thank you so much, Nicole.
You're
My,
welcome.
yeah, my fourth and final question is really just, Nicole, you and I, as disabled people, so rarely get a chance to brag about ourselves, talk about our wins or any upcoming like successes that we're anticipating. So where can people find you online if you want to build an online presence or are willing to connect? Or if you just want to share a recent win about your life, this is the space to do it. So get out those pom-poms, be your own cheerleader.
All right, I'm going to
Cheers.
be my own cheerleader. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me on Instagram, and you can find me on Facebook. I'm currently working on 3 things at the moment, which are very, very interesting. One is I've been chosen to participate in an online Danish architectural publication for people with disabilities on how we make our environments more inclusive. So I'm writing a poem on that. This is the 2nd year running where they're asking not what are we building, but who are we building diversity for, inclusion for. So that's what I'm working on. I'm also publishing some of my writing through harnessmagazine.com, which is an online platform for empowering women. So I'm very, very excited about that. And another win is that I have become a course facilitator for SENIA, which is Special Education Network Inclusion Association. So we offer courses for teachers, administration, teaching assistants on being inclusive education specialists. So that's where people can find me. That's what I'm doing. And I'm super, super psyched that I'm having those opportunities, and I'm constantly looking for more things
That's
to do to keep me
remarkable.
busy.
Absolutely. Nicole, it was fantastic checking in with you. I'm so happy to hear that you've got all these cool things in the works and that you're adjusting to a new, perhaps more expansive phase of your life. Wherever
Yeah.
you go and whatever you do, I'm rooting for you at least. And I can't wait
Thank
to see
you.
what you do next. You're welcome.
I'm rooting for you as well, because you're
Thank you.
doing great things as well in the city of Philadelphia. So
Indeed. All right.
congratulations. Thank you very, very much for your time, and thank you for letting me come and join you again. As always, I look very much forward to it.
Of course. Take care,
Okay.
Nicole.
All right. Bye.
Bye.